We have a proud socialist as frontrunner for the presidential election later this year, and a new survey finds people around the globe see capitalism as a destructive force. The Edelman Public Trust Barometer polled adults online in 27 countries and Hong Kong and found that, on average, 56% agree that capitalism, quote, causes more harm than good. Only citizens of Australia, Canada, South Korea, Hong Kong, Japan, and these United States were fans of capitalism. So why is capitalism getting such a bad rap around the world? Joining me now, National Taxpayers Union Senior Fellow and Forward Strategies President, Mattie Duppler, is back. Mattie, are they asking the wrong questions here?
They sure are, and we'll be asking this question a lot with the 2020 presidential looming. But the question is not whether or not capitalism is bad. The question is compared to what? If you look at the whole arc of human history, the only thing that has been able to alleviate human suffering faster and with more impunity is capitalism. And you look at just the short matter of the last couple of decades, we've been able to make strides because of democratization across the globe. So it's amazing to me that people can ignore even these lessons in human history that we've learned over the course of one generation to say that capitalism is bad. We look at just in 1980, you had over half the world living in abject poverty.
Yes.
Now that number is below 10%, and you have capitalism to thank for that.
And not poverty where it's difficult to pay bills. Maybe you only have one person in the house who's working, or a number of people in one house on disability. We're talking extreme poverty where people don't have running water. And you're absolutely right. 40 years ago, half of the globe was living in extreme poverty. And I'm sorry, but communism and socialism have exacerbated those conditions. They have not alleviated them.
Exactly. And you look what's happened over the globe over the last, just even the last 150 years. You had most of the citizens on this planet living in some kind of autocratic regime. Now you've got most people in the world living in some form of a democracy. Now there's tons of work to be done, right? I'm not saying that capitalism is the silver bullet that cures all things. But if you look at what the human condition has been for the entirety of our time on this planet, it has basically been poverty and suffering. These last couple hundred years or so is when things have started to turn the tide, and it's because you've started to democratize the forces for wealth and the forces for politics. People who argue that you need to concentrate those forces in the government or in some class of people are the ones who are going to end up being enriched by it, and the rest of us are left to fight amongst ourselves. So, I mean, now you look at the globe, and a recent Brookings study showed that 50% of this world is middle class. That is an unbelievable amount of progress in a short amount of time.
That's a really good point, and I think a lot of this stems from people. If you explain what capitalism really is, people love having choices. People love access, but I think they're fearful of technology, and they don't have to be, because as human beings, we actually adapt pretty quickly. Are we doomed?
I hope not, Kennedy. I mean, listen, there are a lot of conversations we need to have about why globalization is good. One of the reasons globalization is good, exporting not just American goods, but also the thoughts about democracy and freedom and free enterprise, that has affected the world and has made everyone in the world more free, more rich. Yes, and it's made everyone better off. So we need to keep doing that.
They got a little bit of hot freedom, and they're never going back. Mattie Duppler, thank you so much.
Thanks, Kennedy.
Awesome. Topical Storm is next. Stay right here.